College. There are many different types of universities and campuses out in the world. Some offer better academics for specific majors, some have well-ranked athletics, or many charge different costs, etc. No matter what type of campus or major students choose, they all have one goal in mind: work like hell for good grades to receive a diploma.
For adequate grades, it is necessary that substantial and effective studying be done. Here at the Penn State Petit Paterno Library, countless hours of studying is endured by students in hope to receive good grades on quizzes, exams, and speeches. However, are the long, extensive hours really necessary to fully retain and understand the information?
As a college student, I, along with many others, have probably experienced the day of an exam or quiz in which your confidence is soaring through the roof, for you spend 3 to 4 days studying, but then you come across that one question, and the dreaded blank out hits you. For the life of you, you are unable to remember the material you thought you knew so well. Frustration and the silent SOS is thrown out as you sorrow in despair. Well, let that despair and frustration of unsuccessful memorization be no more. Memory is an extremely important skill, especially for college students, but wouldn't it be a lifesaver to find a system where memorizing thoroughly could be done in a reasonable amount of time? Well, the solution I propose is to re-emphasize the meaning of memory and how we memorize with creative ideals from great Roman philosopher Cicero. By adopting his memory theories to the modern-day meaning, students will be able to successfully memorize material and save precious time.
Let's ask some students on campus how they would define and describe memory.
For me, when I try to memorize something, whether it's for a class or for theater, I find that repetition helps a lot because the more you do something, the more you practice something, the less likely you are to forget it.
I would describe memory as a way to retain information, and I typically memorize things by using note cards and relating each term back to another.
A way of continuously reviewing and memorizing certain materials.
As you can see, the actual term of memory is unclear by some students. How our brains memorize can be explained by neuroscientist at the University of Oxford, Heidi Johansenberg. She states that your brain needs to form associations between a complex visual image and a name. Different groups of neurons in certain areas of your brain encode these details. Every time these images are recognized by the brain, these sets of neurons are set on fire instantly, and the synaptic pathway that connects them are strengthened. This system is best known as long-term potentiation. This medical explanation of how the human brain retains and remembers information is surprisingly similar to Roman philosopher Cicero's concept of memory. During the rise of rhetoric in Rome, there was an increased desire to improve oratorical skills. So Cicero became a well-known rhetorical philosopher. He coined his ideas of the 5 canons of rhetoric: invention, arrangement, style, memory, and delivery, but memory being the guardian of all the parts of rhetoric. Cicero went on to write the Ad Horenum, which is his own explanation of how an orator can improve memory and the correct way to memorize. In the Ad Horenum, visuals play a huge role in effective memory. Cicero believes that there are 2 types of memory: natural, which a person is born with, and artificial, where a person's current memory can be strengthened by certain kinds of training. The artificial memory is the type that Cicero focuses on and explains the correct and effective way to memorize. He explains that artificial memory starts with collecting a series of backgrounds in which we capture by our natural memory. Then, the material we want to memorize becomes related with these images.
Cicero also stresses that memorizing things in order is ineffective. As an orator, or for this case a student, trying to memorize by order can be challenged if on a test the material is switched around or placed in a different situation. However, if memorized with a more visual sense, you can understand the actual concept or the information committed to the backgrounds and be able to apply it in any situation.
The Ad Horenum also covers the amount and extent of how much memory skills should be in use. A study conducted by the National Survey of Student Engagement found that college students spend an average of 15 hours per week studying. While that amount of time seems reasonable and will vary upon major, Cicero addresses that backgrounds must be of moderate size and medium extent. too large amount of backgrounds or allotted time for studying can render image value. It is important that as college students, we do not under or overstudy because it could produce negative effects. Regardless of what your major is or what college you attend, all college students must put forth hard work and dedication to achieve a successful education and graduate. Since we, college students, devote so much of our time to studying and trying to memorize material, I think it is important that we ask ourselves if we are being most efficient. Memory is an extraordinary skill that aids us through college courses. However, when our memory is not trained in the most efficient way, those long endured hours of studying are counterintuitive, leaving us in frustration and a sense of hopelessness. The solution to this frequent problem is simple. By understanding and re-emphasizing philosopher Cicero's concepts of visual memorization with backgrounds and images, not only college students, but all people trying to memorize any material can maximize memory efficiency, which will save time and improve overall understanding.